I like to subscribe, do all that. You know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This movie's called 5 Feet Apart. Came out in 2019. It's about 2 hours long. Spoiler alert, let's just get it. So this entire story completely takes place in the hospital. Here we have Stella and her friends coming to see her, just chilling and whatnot. Then she's got a daily routine of taking a bunch of pills. She's pretty much setting up her own charts and whatnot. Then she spends time making YouTube videos talking about her condition and ways to try to improve it. And we have her best friends who's a nurse named Barbara. You can tell they're pretty tight. She's living with high hopes that she got a wonderful spirit. But you're probably thinking to yourself, what's she doing in the hospital? Okay, so her situation goes like this. She has a rare type of disease that's scattered around in her lungs. And for her to honestly survive, she needs a new lung transplant. Apparently, this is something she's been living with pretty much all her life, and this is not her first rodeo when it comes to surgeries. And the crazy thing is, I think she's only like 16. So she goes around helping everybody at the hospital, making sure they're on task and whatnot. She has a bit of a control issue. So apparently one of the nurses told her that they can go to the upper room because they're having babies. She can actually see him outside the glass, so everything's fine. Then another guy enters a room by the name of Will. Will has a condition too. It turns out to be trypositis. I know I'm saying it wrong. Well, anyway, Barb catches him up here and is like, yeah, you need to keep your distance. Get on out of here, Will. See, Will has to be exactly 6 feet apart away from her. Because the thing is, his condition can act like a disease to her lungs. It would definitely be fatal in her condition. So Will goes back to his room. He starts watching all of Stella's videos on YouTube. Meanwhile, she's back in the room and she starts coughing while she's taking her medicine. The next day, she calls up her best friend Poe, who happens to be in the same hospital with her, and he more or less has the same condition she does. So it's kind of like a program these certain people are in. But once again, they all got to keep a certain distance amount away from each other because their symptoms can act like a disease to the other person and kill them. Meanwhile, Will and his mom are talking to the head doctor, and she's telling her the treatments might not likely work, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure we can get it good. But Will's definitely having his doubts. Later on, Will heads up to the rooftop, and while Stella's talking to her friends, just having fun, just chilling, she notices Will on the rooftop like, what the fuck, man? So she goes up there to check on him. And Will's very morbid about his speech, you know what I'm saying? He feels like death is coming and all this stuff. He's kind of speaking facts, but Stella's an upbeat person. She's trying to look at the brighter side of things. Will starts playing around. Stella leaves him up there. There was a $20 bill in there holding the door in place, but right then and there, he locked himself out or locked himself in because the $20 bill fell and she opened the door and closed it. I'm still wondering from that part how the hell he got back in. Maybe she came back up there to go get him, who knows. So she goes by his room to make sure he's taking all the stuff he's supposed to be taking. And he's kind of lazy with it. Then afterwards, she goes back up to the 4th floor to look at the babies again. He's like, look, I'll make a deal with you. I'll do all my treatments or whatever if you let me draw you. She's like, all right, fine, whatever. Just take your treatments. And then afterwards, Will meets Poe. And Poe lets him know the reason why Stella's got this attitude right now is because Will's not doing what he needs to be doing. So the next day, Barbara comes in with the chart, and she's actually surprised that Will's going to do his own regimens. But we already know why he's doing it. So she's been sneaking around to get to Will's room to straighten up his pills and stuff like that. Because like I said, she has control issues and she's also a neat freak. But she wants to make sure he's up to tip-top shape. Then she starts looking at a lot of the pictures that he already drew before getting to the hospital. So she's been calling him every day and doing voice chats and stuff like that just to make sure that he's taking his stuff, which he's doing. Mix it inside of Jell-O and whatnot. Then she gets a nice visit from her mom. When the doctor checks on her later on, we need to notice that she's getting a little bit more of an infection around her stomach. So she's going to give her a different type of medication to calm it down. But she ain't letting nothing stop her. She's still working out in the gym. And so is he. They still keeping their distance, but they still in the vicinity of each other. So after a while, Will is finally able to draw Stella while she's sitting still. And while he's doing that, she's got this to-do list that she always checking off or whatever. And they have a lovely moment talking about their to-do list. Then we see her later on watching videos of her sister Abby. She do a lot of skydiving and whatnot. She started getting real emotional watching these videos. I'm thinking to myself, something's up. Meanwhile, Will was talking to the nurses trying to figure out if the treatment, what if it doesn't work? And then she's like, man, what if it does? 50-50 chance. Then we finally see the picture that Will drew of Stella. He sent it to her through the door. Says he rather expresses himself through cartoons. But she enjoyed it nevertheless. Now he asks about the pictures in the background. Those are pictures that her sister drew. Later on, Will was watching a video of Abby and her sister Stella. And he's with his friends and he noticed those videos were like a year and a half ago. So Will and Stella meet up in a little sauna room, and she tells her that Abby died a year ago or whatever like that, and she felt like it was her fault. But Will was kind of insensitive to her feelings, seeing as how he feels like he's about to go die soon. Then she left out the room, and you see Poe trying to comfort her. And then they both go get some ice cream. Will's trying to call and apologize, but she ain't answering the phone. Meanwhile, the infection is not really getting worse or better. Stella's a very strong individual, but considering the things that have been going on lately, she is feeling the possibility of death creeping through her mind. Will came by to apologize. He sent another drawing through her. She accepted his apology, but she wasn't trying to hear it right then and there because she found out she's going to have another surgery in the morning about the infection. It's a 50-50 chance again. So the next morning, she's getting ready. Will comes in there and gives her encouragement. See, every time she had one of these type of surgeries, her sister was always there. This would be the first time that she wouldn't be there, so Will's there to comfort her. Even though technically he shouldn't be anywhere near her, even though when the real doctors come in, he hides and dips low. Then he gets caught by Barb. So she's kind of pissed off at him for obvious reasons, but she could tell that he loves her. The problem is at one point in time, she did have 2 kids she looked after, that both were in love, both broke the rules, and both of them died under her watch. This changed the perception of what Will was doing. So while Stella's in there getting surgery, she's thinking about her sister Abby's drawings, which it kind of looks like it looks like a pair of lungs, right? She wakes up the next day with a gift from Will. It's got his face all over the box with a package of roses. While that's going on, Will is looking up the symptoms of his disease, and basically putting the two types of diseases together instantly cause death. A lot of the stuff is explaining that there are no effective treatments. He's drawing pictures of himself looking like the Grim Reaper. Clearly, you can tell where his mind state is. Yeah, man, it's not good. She's trying to call Will, leaving messages because whatever she took or whatever they have her under still got her doped up. She's pretty much confessing her feelings to him yeah. But Will's at that point where he's back on the rooftop again. When she finally gets up out of bed, she's ready to get all dolled up for him, putting on lipstick and whatnot. She tells him to meet him at the dining area. So now she's basically just waiting on him. But Poe comes by and tells her Will's not showing up. So she goes straight to his door like, yo, fuck this, open up. He basically tells her he can't, he's gotta stay away. But she really cares about him, and more than anything, she's hoping that he doesn't try to kill himself. And then Poe's trying to break down to her like, look, Will's actually trying to do the right thing. You know, he's trying to keep the distance now. But she ain't trying to hear that shit. And then on top of that, she puts Poe on blast. She's like, damn, you ain't to go at me like that. But I get it, though. But then they make up a little while later. Everything's all good and gravy. But of course, she's still worried about Will. Then she gets an idea from this hand-washing chart. Then she sends a letter to Will like, fuck that, we could be 5 feet away from each other at all times. Then she sends him another video talking about the healthy use of hand sanitizer and gloves. And she's going to use a pool stick, which is about 5 feet long. I'm not going to say she doesn't give a fuck about her life anymore, because she does, but she's not going to spend it without spending time with Will. She comes to his door, is like, look, this is how it's going down. You know I'm going to keep bothering you if you don't accept. And so he does eventually. She's like, we're going on a date for real this time. Fuck that. And she's waiting by the dining spot again. And Will does show up this time. I know you're probably thinking to yourselves, how are they getting away with this all the time? Well, apparently they're doing this because they know certain schedules that Barbara works on. Then they have a moment by the pool. She shows off all the scars that she has, mostly from surgeries and infections. And he does the same. Pretty much the same amount, really. Then they go swimming. Then here comes Barbara coming into work. Poe lets them know they coming. They gotta go back to their rooms. Poe looks in one room and finds Stella fake sleeping on the couch, and Will went back to his spot. Apparently the next day when she was talking to Will, she found out it was his birthday coming up. But that his birthday was actually the day. He's supposed to be calling his friends and seeing what's up. She talked about, I wish you would have told me, I would have got you a gift. Then his friends was like, they got some stuff to do, they can't make it. He's like, alright, cool, don't worry about it. Then later on he gets this text message from Stella. He gets a balloon by his door with a message inside the balloon. Start where we first met. Then it basically becomes like a little scavenger hunt. It was a balloon by the NICU, it was a balloon by the dining room. Basically, she gets him all the way to the kitchen. Then she surprised him with all his and her friends in the kitchen. He got Poe in the background in the kitchen fixing the food. Later on, Poe starts talking to Stella saying that he might be out the hospital in a month. They getting great news all the way around. And they got this gourmet feast. I'm like, whoa. How did Poe get all this shit? Well, apparently some celebrities come to this hospital too, and they always keep the good stuff in the back, and he knows where to find it, so there you go. They did it all for him because they care about him, and they got down to eating. Until they forgot about Barbara's schedule, she came down to bust everybody's flight. So Barbara's trying to find a way to get Will transferred, you know, to save everybody else's life. I mean, she don't want to do it, but for the sake of everybody else, you know what I'm saying, it's important. Nevertheless, they talk to each other over the computer still. Right when she's trying to get the transfers done, they get a call from Poe. She's thinking to herself, he probably just turned over and slept on the button again. But when she checked the room, he was lying on the floor. It was like, oh shit. They called her Code Blue. They were trying to revive him, but unfortunately, he died right then and there. So you know they thinking to themselves, it's their fault for getting too close and all this other stuff. You just thinking to yourself, he was trying to get out the hospital soon. She's going through a range of emotions because that's her best friend. She's thinking about her sister. It's like a lot. He's there trying to comfort her, but then he puts his arm on her shoulder. It's like, dude, what are you doing, yo? You can't be this close, you know what it is. You thinking to yourself, that's probably what happened in the first place, considering how close everybody was at the birthday party. So he starts packing up stuff, thinking to himself it's his fault. He's ready to get up out of there. Poe already died. He doesn't want to see Stella die at the hands of him. Stella gets to the point she gets dressed. She's like, fuck it, I want to go see the lights. Then she sees Will through the glass with his bags packed. She's at the point where she almost doesn't give a fuck anymore. She tells Will to come with her. She grabs him by his hand. I mean, they got gloves on, but still. They go to the highest mountain to look at the lights. They have their little moments thinking snow angels. Then they go near an ice skating rink. Meanwhile, the doctors get a message about a car accident. The lady that died has the perfect set of lungs for Stella to have, and so she'll be able to, basically live another 5 years if she gets these lungs. So Barbara's ready to tell her the good news, and of course they can't find her. While they're skating, she gets the text message, but she has to stop and think about it. And at this point, she's not even all that thrilled about going back. She just wants to spend as much time as she can with Will. Then it gets to a point where they almost kiss, and then Will's like, no, we can't, for obvious reasons. Back at the hospital, parents worried sick. What the fuck is going on? Then it gets to a part where she ends up falling through the ice. I'm like, oh shit. Will's doing everything he can to pull her up to safety. And we just told you everything about their lungs being messed up. Imagine her being in the cold under there, damn near basically almost drowning. With nobody around and no alternative, he had to put lips on her to give her CPR, mouth to mouth. And he ended up saving her life for the time being. The doctors get them back to the hospital. Will tells her to calm down and get yourself a new pair of lungs. She gets ready for the surgery. Will's apparently doing better now. The operation was a success. Unfortunately for Will, he gets the news later on that they're saying that the treatments for him are not working. And even with her new set of lungs, there's still a chance she could catch whatever Will has. But he did save her life though. So at this point, Will is definitely going to need to be transported to a new spot. But not before doing something really important for Stella. So we got family, friends, and everybody to chip in to do this for him. When she finally wakes up, Will gives her a final message, and he set up the outside so she can see all the colorful lights. And then Will says final goodbyes. Obviously, she didn't want him to go, but didn't have much of a choice in the matter at this point. But he left a book behind for her with all his drawings in it. The drawings of all her friends and family, including Poe. And he finally told her about his wish list. It was to love her forever. So a couple weeks later, when she was finally able to talk, she's still doing her YouTube videos, but she dedicated most of them to Will. And that's it. The disease that she had was cystic fibrosis, I think. I ain't gonna say it hit close to home, but I know a lot of people that have certain situations like this. 5 Feet Apart on Netflix. Check it out. Like, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Look easy on the easy best. Big. You got damn slow.